You think your morning routine of whole wheat toast and a glass of orange juice is setting you up for a good day. Science says otherwise. We've been buying into supermarket labels for decades, assuming the packages with green leaves and heart-healthy stamps are actually good for us. But when you look at the clinical data, the story completely flips. Today we're breaking down the top 10 worst foods for your health, specifically the everyday items you probably have in your kitchen right now. We're ranking them based on clinical evidence showing exactly how they impact your blood sugar and metabolism. Quick note before we start, this video is for educational and informational purposes only, based on published research, and is not medical advice. If you have a condition, always consult your doctor before making dietary changes. We're going to look at the real data. And more importantly, we're giving you exact, budget-friendly swaps you can make this week. The number one food on this list isn't a surprise, but how it actively damages your liver will completely change how you look at a beverage menu. Let's get into it. Number 10. Flavored oatmeal packets. Oats themselves are fantastic. They contain a specific type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan that's well documented to help manage cholesterol. But that's not what you're eating when you rip open a packet of maple brown sugar instant oats on a busy Tuesday morning. Here's what the data actually shows. A 2014 study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found a significant association between a high-sugar diet and a greater risk of dying from heart disease. And those instant oatmeal packets? They routinely pack 10 to 14 grams of added sugar per serving. When you process oats down to paper-thin flakes so they cook in 60 seconds and then coat them in refined sugar, you completely alter how your body processes them. The fiber is pulverized. The glucose hits your bloodstream almost immediately. It's not a hearty breakfast. It's dessert in a bowl. So what does this actually mean for your grocery list? It means you need to buy the one-ingredient version. Just a quick heads up, prices mentioned are approximate and were checked at the time of our research in early 2026, so they vary slightly by location and store. Instead of the flavored boxes, buy a large canister of plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats. At most stores, a large tub costs about $4 and gives you 30 servings. That's roughly 15 cents a bowl. Microwave them with a handful of frozen berries and a dash of cinnamon. You get the actual benefits of the beta-glucan, naturally sweet flavor from the fruit, and zero added sugar. Same prep time. A fraction of the cost. Number 9. Store-bought salad dressings. You're trying to do the right thing. You make a massive bowl of spinach, cucumbers, and tomatoes, and then you pour 2 tablespoons of a commercial vinaigrette or ranch dressing over it. Flip that bottle around and read the first 3 ingredients. In almost every major brand, you're going to see water, soybean oil or canola oil, and high fructose corn syrup. Research suggests that the modern diet is heavily overloaded with these highly refined seed oils. Some studies point out that consuming excessive amounts of these highly processed oils is associated with low-grade inflammatory markers, though this topic is still debated in the scientific community. But here's where the data isn't debated. Adding liquid sugar and heavily processed fats to a bowl of raw vegetables completely negates the reason you're eating the salad in the first place. You're turning a nutrient-dense meal into a vehicle for empty calories. When you look at the ingredients, these are some of the most unhealthy everyday foods hiding in plain sight. The swap here is the easiest one on this list. Stop paying $4 for a bottle of cheap oil and sugar. Buy a bottle of extra virgin olive oil. Pour a tablespoon of olive oil over your greens, squeeze half a lemon, and add a pinch of salt and pepper. It takes exactly 30 seconds. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, which are consistently linked to cardiovascular health in long-term studies. It tastes better, it uses real ingredients, and it actually helps your body absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in those vegetables. Number 8. Granola and protein bars. This is a classic case of the health halo effect. You buy them in the health food aisle. The wrapper shows a mountain climber or a picture of fresh almonds. You keep them in your desk drawer for that 3 p.m. slump. But data based on the NOVA classification system shows that high consumption of ultra-processed foods is closely linked to metabolic syndrome. And make no mistake, most commercial granola and protein bars are heavily ultra-processed. Look at the ingredient list. You'll often find brown rice syrup, soy protein isolate, palm kernel oil, and artificial flavorings. They are engineered to be shelf-stable for 2 years. Many of these bars contain up to 20 grams of sugar. To put that in perspective, that's the same amount of sugar as a standard candy bar. The 5 or 10 grams of protein they sprinkle in doesn't magically cancel out the massive insulin spike you're going to experience 30 minutes after eating it. They are essentially candy bars with better public relations. So what's the alternative for a quick snack at your desk? If you need convenience, grab a handful of raw almonds or 2 hard-boiled eggs. You can buy a dozen pasture-raised eggs for about $6. That's 50 cents for 2 eggs, delivering 12 grams of highly bioavailable protein and essential nutrients like choline with 0 sugar. No crashes, no synthetic ingredients. Just real food that keeps you full until dinner. Number 7. Commercial cereal. Let's walk through what actually happens in your body when you eat a bowl of standard breakfast cereal. This is one of the ultimate foods to avoid for blood sugar stability. Imagine you eat a bowl at 8 a.m. before heading to the office. Because the grains in cereal are extruded, meaning they are processed under extreme heat and pressure into those little O's or flakes in a factory, your stomach digests them almost instantly. There's no complex structure left for your digestive system to break down. By 8:20 a.m., your blood sugar is climbing rapidly. According to the International Table of Glycemic Index published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, most commercial cereals sit incredibly high on the glycemic scale, often above 70. By 8:45 a.m., your pancreas is panicking. It floods your bloodstream with insulin to forcefully shuttle all that glucose out of your blood. By 10:30 a.m., that insulin has done its job almost too well. Your blood sugar crashes below your baseline. Your brain senses this drop as an emergency. You feel exhausted, your focus shatters, and you find yourself staring at the vending machine or pouring your 3rd cup of coffee just to keep your eyes open. That afternoon fatigue isn't a lack of willpower. It's biochemistry doing exactly what it's programmed to do when you feed it refined carbohydrates for breakfast. The swap? Plain Greek yogurt. A large tub of plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt costs about $5 and holds 5 servings. One serving gives you roughly 15 to 18 grams of protein. Throw in a tablespoon of chia seeds for healthy fats and fiber. This combination digests slowly. It provides a steady, gradual release of energy. You won't feel that 10:30 a.m. crash because you never caused the 8:20 a.m. spike. Number 6. Fruit juice. This one is hard for a lot of people to accept because we literally grew up being told that a glass of orange juice was the gold standard of a healthy morning. Quick note, if you have a diagnosed medical condition like diabetes or liver issues, the general studies we discuss may not apply to your specific treatment plan. Always talk to your specialist. Here's what the data actually says. Studies in the Journal of Hepatology indicate that consuming large amounts of liquid fructose, devoid of fiber, is strongly associated with the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. When you eat a whole orange, you are consuming fructose, yes, but that fructose is locked inside a matrix of fiber. Your body has to work to break it down. It has to chew it, digest the pulp, and extract the juice. That physical process means the sugar enters your system slowly and safely. When you drink a glass of orange juice, you are consuming the sugar of 4 or 5 oranges in 10 seconds, but you've thrown away the fiber. You are drinking liquid fructose. Fructose is processed almost exclusively by the liver. When you flood the liver with a massive dose of liquid fructose all at once, it can't process it for energy fast enough, so it converts it into triglycerides, fat. An 8-ounce glass of orange juice has roughly 22 grams of sugar. An 8-ounce glass of soda has about 26 grams. Biochemically, your liver barely knows the difference. The solution here is simple. Stop drinking your fruit. Eat it. A whole orange costs about 50 cents. It gives you the vitamin C you want, but it includes the 3 grams of fiber your body desperately needs to process the fructose safely. Number 5. Artificial sweeteners and diet sodas. For years, the advice was simple. If sugar is bad, just switch to 0-calorie artificial sweeteners. If it doesn't have calories, it can't hurt you, right? The research is starting to paint a very different picture. A randomized clinical trial from 2022, published in the journal Cell, found that some artificial sweeteners, like sucralose and saccharin, can alter the gut microbiome and impact glucose tolerance in some adults. Here's what that means in plain English. Your gut is full of trillions of bacteria that help regulate your immune system, your digestion, and your metabolism. While these artificial sweeteners don't contain calories, they are not biologically inert. When you consume them, they travel down into your digestive tract, where your gut bacteria interact with them. The data suggests that these highly synthetic compounds can shift the balance of your microbiome. And the irony? In some people, this disruption actually makes the body worse at handling real sugar when you eventually do eat it. You drink diet soda to lose weight or manage blood sugar, but the chemical sweeteners might be quietly making your metabolism less efficient. Now, if you're currently drinking 6 regular sodas a day, switching to diet is a valid stepping stone to reduce your massive sugar intake. But it's not a healthy final destination. Your best swap is sparkling water. If you crave the carbonation, grab a can of unflavored sparkling water and squeeze some fresh lemon or lime into it. 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 synthetic chemicals disrupting your gut bacteria. Number 4. Whole wheat commercial bread. This is where the marketing of the food industry gets incredibly deceptive. You go to the bread aisle. You skip the white bread because you know it's highly refined. You grab the brown loaf that says 100% whole wheat in big, bold letters, assuming you've made the healthier choice. But according to the International Glycemic Index database, published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the glycemic index of standard white bread is roughly 75. The glycemic index of standard whole wheat bread? 74. Same flour, same spike. The label changes the packaging, not the biological response in your bloodstream. How is this possible? Because the wheat in that commercial loaf has been milled and pulverized into a powder so microscopically fine that your digestive enzymes break it down into glucose almost instantly. It might have 1 extra gram of fiber compared to white bread, but functionally, once it hits your stomach, it acts like pure starch. So what does this mean for your sandwiches? You need to flip the bread over and read the ingredients. If the first ingredient says enriched wheat flour, put it back. Look for sprouted grain bread, often kept in the freezer section. Sprouting the grains before baking changes their starch profile and lowers the glycemic impact. Alternatively, look for genuine sourdough bread made with just 3 ingredients: flour, water, and salt. The fermentation process in real sourdough breaks down the starches and makes it much easier on your blood sugar. Yes, a real loaf might cost $5 or $6 compared to a $3 commercial loaf, but the difference to your metabolic health is night and day. Number 3. Processed deli meats. Turkey, ham, bologna, salami. They are the staple of the American workday lunch. They're cheap, they're pre-sliced, and they pack easily into a Tupperware container. But the World Health Organization has classified processed meats as Group 1, meaning there is strong evidence associating regular consumption with an increased risk of colorectal cancer. The issue here isn't the meat itself, it's the processed part. To make a slice of turkey last for 2 months inside a plastic tub in your fridge without spoiling, manufacturers pump it full of sodium, preservatives, and nitrates. When you consume these compounds, especially when they interact with your stomach acid, they can form nitrosamines, which are well-documented inflammatory compounds. If you're eating deli meat sandwiches every single day at work, you are consistently exposing your digestive tract to these highly processed preservatives. So how do you get cheap, convenient protein for lunch without the processing? Canned fish, specifically canned wild-caught tuna or sardines. At most supermarkets, a can of chunk light tuna costs about $1.25. That single can delivers roughly 20 to 22 grams of high-quality protein, 0 carbohydrates, and 0 synthetic preservatives. If you choose sardines, you're also getting a massive dose of omega-3 fatty acids, which are fantastic for joint and brain health. Mix it with a little avocado or olive oil. Put it on that sprouted grain bread we just talked about, and you have a powerhouse lunch that costs less than $3. Number 2. Energy drinks. If you're an office worker staring at a screen at 2 p.m. or a shift worker trying to make it through the night, energy drinks look like a lifeline. The marketing is aggressive. They promise extreme focus, zero fatigue, and peak performance. But let's look at the physiology. A 2019 study in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that energy drinks altered the heart's QTc interval and blood pressure significantly differently than just consuming an equivalent amount of plain caffeine. These drinks are a chemical cocktail. They combine high doses of caffeine with taurine, guarana, artificial sweeteners, and sometimes massive amounts of sugar. Here's the truth about energy drinks. They don't actually give you energy, they borrow it. Think of an energy drink like a high-interest credit card. When you swipe it at 2 p.m., you get an immediate influx of cash, or in this case, a massive dump of adrenaline and cortisol into your bloodstream. Your heart rate elevates, you feel alert, you power through the spreadsheet. But you haven't generated real cellular energy. You've just masked your fatigue by putting your nervous system into fight-or-flight mode. And just like a credit card, the bill comes due. When that synthetic spike wears off, you crash harder than before. Your sleep architecture is disrupted that night, and you wake up exhausted the next day, prompting you to reach for another can. You're trapped in a cycle of metabolic debt. The swap? Stick to the classics: black coffee or green tea. A cup of black coffee brewed at home costs about 20 cents. It gives you a moderate, safe dose of caffeine, backed by hundreds of studies showing neurological benefits, without the synthetic chemicals or the aggressive blood pressure spike. Number 1. Sugary sodas. The absolute worst foods for your health aren't actually foods at all. They are sugary sodas. We've touched on sugar throughout this list, but soda is in a league of its own. Medical guidelines consider excessive consumption of liquid fructose as one of the leading risk factors associated with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. When you eat a candy bar, there is fat and protein mixed in with the sugar. It takes your stomach time to break it down. But when you drink a 20-ounce soda, you are dumping 65 grams of high fructose corn syrup straight into your digestive tract. Because it's liquid, there is zero digestion required. It hits your bloodstream like a freight train. Your body doesn't register calories from liquids the same way it does from solid food. You can drink 300 calories of soda with your meal, and your brain will never send the signal that says, "I'm full, stop eating." This is the ultimate trap of ultra-processed diets. They strip away the real nutrition to increase the shelf life, pump it full of cheap liquid sugar so it tastes good, and leave your metabolism to pay the price. Millions of dollars are spent on advertising to convince you to buy bottled fatigue. Meanwhile, the science shows the absolute best beverage for your body is practically free: water. I'd love to know, did our number 1 surprise you, or did you see it coming? Let me know in the comments. If you want to improve your health metrics, reduce your risk of metabolic issues, and lower chronic inflammation, cutting out liquid sugar is the single highest return investment you can make. You don't need a fancy diet, just stop drinking sugar. So what does all this data mean for you? Here are your steps this week. Step 1. Swap your morning juice for a whole orange or an apple. You get the vitamins, you keep the fiber, and you protect your liver. Step 2. Throw out the store-bought salad dressings made with seed oils. Make a 30-second dressing with extra virgin olive oil and lemon juice. Step 3. Replace those sugary protein bars with a handful of almonds or hard-boiled eggs for your afternoon snack. Remember that typical morning routine we talked about at the beginning? By making just a few of these affordable swaps, you can dramatically cut down on the hidden sugars and inflammatory ingredients you consume every single day. Better nutrition doesn't have to be expensive. It just requires the right information. If you found these evidence-based breakdowns helpful, subscribing helps more people find real nutrition science without the hype. We've got more food deep dives coming.